On our next interview edition of the Believe in FCS Football podcast, Sean and I were joined by UNH defensive end Josiah Silver. In 2021, he had a stellar season, earning a number of awards where he finished with 20.5 tackles for loss and 12.5 sacks. He's also only listed as just a sophomore. Silver has a very bright future ahead of him as a potentially very, very dominant pass rusher in the CAA. Before we get to that interview, though, I want to tell you folks about Bet Online. There is a ton of great games happening in the NFL during the playoffs. There's also things starting to heat up in the NBA and in college basketball as we're not too far away for the postseason for both of those sports. And if you want to get in on the action, maybe your team's not doing so well and you want to make things interesting, make them more entertaining, you should head to Bet Online. I know that's what I've been doing lately now that my Giants are out of things and they very clearly weren't going to be competing for a playoff spot. I've been doing a couple parlays, been goofing around with it. I know Sean makes fun of me for not betting, but I started to get into it and I absolutely love using Bet Online. I use that promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, and I got a 50% welcome bonus on my first deposit, and you can too. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all of the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all of your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. And now joining us here on the show is Josiah Silver, the highly touted defensive end, pass rusher at the University of New Hampshire. Josiah, thanks for taking some time to hop on with us. I know you're currently in break right now. How's everything been going for you so far since the end of the season?
Thank you for having me. It's been going good. Been working out with my high school coach back in my FU's high school, so stay in the weight room and just been watching a whole bunch of film.
So I know that you're from Virginia. You're more down south, right? Sean here's from Virginia as well, so it's always interesting spotting some of those guys.
So obviously you got recruited, you're playing at UNH, right? For the Virginia schools, were you looking into any of those? Because I know I did the gambit also, and then ended up north at Rhode Island also. So, you're sitting in the JMU office, you're sitting in all the other schools. Oh, here's William and Mary. And then for it's you guys that go play in the CAA in the northern schools, which is a thing that I've been seeing for a while.
So obviously I was like going into the whole recruiting process. I never thought I would end up in New Hampshire, like until my senior year. So like going into it, like JMU was recruiting me, William and Mary, ODU at one point was recruiting me.
Yeah, ODU. I remember going to ODU spring game thinking, yeah, Rhode Island. Yeah, I talked to them. I'm sitting here. It's nice. It's warm. It's the beach. Then you end up north. You're like, this is different.
Yeah. So JMU tried to they wanted to bring me on as a preferred walk-on, and I believed in myself more than that. William and Mary, I didn't have the SAT. I had the GPA, but they said my SAT score wasn't high enough. So then New Hampshire came knocking on the door, and I was like, all right, it was my best offer. So
that's BS. I know some
yeah
to William and Mary. I mean, people. I'm catching up with them over breaks. I'm like, you're at William and Mary? it doesn't. That's. I don't know what that is. That's an odd trend.
Josiah, I got a stupid question. How far of a trip do you have to make to go all the way up to New Hampshire? Because you're coming from, like I said, you're coming more deeper into Virginia than Sean was coming from. And I remember he was taking some 6-7 hour treks to get to Rhode Island. Is that like a 10-hour trip every time?
So I've never drove to New Hampshire. But
lucky you.
Maps wise, on maps is like a 12-hour drive.
Yeah. Holy crap.
And that's like without traffic, but like you gonna hit traffic because I gotta go through DC, Richmond, all that. So
Fredericksburg.
Yeah.
God.
I ain't never make the drive.
Smart.
I always like asking this question, or I always get this brought up whenever I'm talking to guys about their recruitment and stuff like that, and what led to the decision. Had you ever been to New Hampshire or like New England at all before you made that decision?
Nope.
First time.
They gave me a scholarship, and then they was talking I came on my official visit, And like so, like going into this whole process, like I had an offer from Fordham, and I just got the offer to New Hampshire. So like my coach told me they was offering me. I was like, Coach, is this like Division 1? I ain't never heard of it. I was like, is this
Wow.
Division 1? He was like, yeah, they're in the CAA, but I was familiar with the CAA because of Richmond, JMU, all of them. So I'm like, all right, cool. So we good conference, and then I did my research. I'm like, all right. So going into my official, I was like, yo, if I like it, like if I have a little bit of fun, like if I like it a little bit, I'm gonna commit. Went up there and I enjoyed myself. I was like, wow, I wasn't expecting this, and then boom.
I could see the New Hampshire students being fun on a visit. They were always rather rowdy behind us on the sidelines. They're on the whiteouts. It was well, we played up there. Was it 2017 where Marvin started fighting the our Gatorade cooler? We got so frustrated.
I was thinking about that too when we were doing our notes. That we had a receiver, Josiah, that flipped a table and destroyed a Gatorade cooler when we played you guys. Probably could have guessed the outcome of that game.
Yeah, it was.
The crazy thing is though, so my official was during MLK weekend.
Okay.
So like none of the students were really back yet from winter break.
Really?
I didn't even go to a party or nothing. They got me to commit on just like the team. Like I was just chilling with the team there. And I was like, all right, like these are cool guys. And it's like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and commit.
What'd you do on your visit? Did they have you playing like chess or something in someone's dorm room? Like,
Nah. So this is when McGregor fought. This was like McGregor's first fight back when he won. Like when he was a kid.
Yeah.
So we was watching the fight, and then like we was playing the game, and then we was just chilling with the guys.
I was an awful. I co-hosted one time, and we just played video the whole night. He ended up not committing, but it was. So I had no dealings with the recruits after that.
I'm 1 for 1 with hosting. I hosted one recruit. I got him to commit.
You see, that's weird for me. I feel like I have too much. Like I know it's like, oh, we want to get these guys here. I'm like, everyone's got their own journey. I don't want to play that big of a part in their life.
Oh, that's so lame.
Dude,
what?
I don't.
You're supposed to be helping the team.
That's a lot of pressure, man. That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, I like hosting. Like free food, free money.
Right. That's the key thing.
Can't beat it. And you just gotta go have a good time. Like I like a good time, so.
Right. They're you always get excited. I hosted all 4 years, and they also almost tried to get me to host after I was done playing. And I was like, what? But no, every time I was like, oh, that means we're going to the nice restaurant this week. That's what it means.
Exactly. And you eating for free. You can't beat eating for free.
Right, exactly. So Josiah, talking about your time at UNH, you made the decision to go, and you immediately step in, and you got there right when COVID hit, right? Things were probably a bit tricky trying to navigate that.
Yeah, so COVID kind of helped me because like I stepped into the campus like not understanding like how fast college football was. It's like that whole fall we just spent practicing, and so what isn't talked about. I had a fifth year senior Brian Carter in front of me for like my freshman year technically.
Yeah.
And he was there, so it's him and Gunnar Gibson, and they were my role models at the time because, like, they were the two upperclassmen. I'm the freshman who everyone knew, like, I was gonna be the third one out of us three. So like, they taught me everything they knew. So like without the COVID year, I don't think I would have had the same impact as I did this year without Brian Carter and then COVID. And I got to get in and like learn the playbook, practice at college level, and I didn't have to learn the plays during camp. I learned it like it wasn't a rush, if that makes sense.
So you did have a lot of early success so far at UNH. Aside from the all the practice and learning from some of the veteran guys, was there anything else that you could attribute to your success, or was it just nose to the grindstone, chipping away one day at a time, get 1% better type deal?
I would say it's 1% better. My biggest thing, like trying to translate from high school to college, was just getting my confidence back. Like, because once I got to college, I was like there was a couple practices, like when I didn't have a good practice, I'm just like looking at myself like, man, I'm not used to this. I used to be like the man at high school.
Oh yeah, the one.
Everyone goes through that.
The one-on-ones, the one-on-ones that freshman year are, you're like, oh, you're a grown man. All right, here we go.
Those got me. But that's where Gunnar Gibson helped me. He was like, man, don't worry about like this practice. He was like, everyone's on this team for a reason. Like everyone's recruited here because they were the man at high school at one point themselves. So like once I realized that and like calm down and like just started like regaining that confidence, that helped me.
Yeah, and you obviously, Sean pointed out the really good season you had this past year. You had 10.5 sacks. You were second in the CAA in terms of that production, and it's tough to do that early on. It's tough to step in, and that COVID year certainly helped some younger guys to develop and all that stuff. When did it kind of click to you that you knew you were capable of doing that? I know you kind of just hit on that, but like when was it? Like, was it this season that you're like, man, I can really make a name for myself in this conference?
All right, so they didn't update my bio. I had 12.5 sacks, and I was first in the conference.
Damn. You got to get on the UNH sports information guys, because like I was looking for your accolades too, and I couldn't. I know you were an all conference guy. I know you got the All American recognition, but like you got to tell them to update that stuff, man. You got to be able to promote that stuff.
I got you. But it was during the season, so I went the first 2 games without a sack. I was just like, I was close in like both games. I was just like, man, I'm trying to get the first one. And then we played Lafayette, 3rd game of the year. I got my first 2. I'm like, I could do this. Then we played Pitt, and Yasin scored a Pitt. I'm like, all right, hold on. And then week 4, we played James Madison, JMU. So to me, I took that game to heart because I was a kid from Virginia who they passed up on. So I came into that game, I got 2 sacks. So I was like, once the JMU game hit, I was like, man, I could do this. Like, but what really helped me though, it was a lot. If you look, the last 5 games of the season, I had like 9+ tackles in every game, and I had 7.5 sacks in those 5 games. So like the last 5 games really turned my numbers around.
What's your favorite move to use against the offensive lineman? You know, I always like hearing what because it isn't the most effective depending on if he's a top heavy guy, if he's a body heavy. If you had a favorite move that you're most confident in, what would it be?
I would say it was my ghost rush. So like I would show that I'm about to bull rush, and I would take it away and dip my shoulder.
Yeah, you get them leaning forward, you get their hands all out of place. It's awful move to stop. I hate it. It's terrible. No, it's a great move for D lineman because that's a pretty complex because you got everything with your head. You got great body control and you got to be convincing. God.
So like my favorite pass rusher is Von Miller. So like growing up, I just watched a whole bunch of Von Miller, and then like my freshman year, like a lot of the moves I was doing at high school, I just ran by people because my get off was good, so I just ran by them.
Yeah.
So get to a college level, I'm just
you can't do that.
Yeah, I was like, I gotta start like looking at what these NFL superstars are doing, and then like I came up to my coach one day. I was like, yeah, I'm trying to master. Like I'm trying to get good at this ghost rush, and so he was like, all right, just start practicing it, and like we started doing 1-on-1s. And I like the first Stony Brook game, I probably did it like 4 times, and then I was like successful. I was successful in like 2, but then I was like, all right, I gotta get something else. And I'm still developing. Like I'm good at the swipe. I be swiping. Now I'm just still trying to develop more of my arsenal, getting a little bigger.
Is the swipe the next move that you're trying to add to that arsenal? Or are there any other moves that you're kind of playing around with? Not to give up too much to opposing offensive linemen.
I'm still trying to get the spin in the arsenal. My spin is real. I can't really spin. I mean, no, that's the hardest one to me. Yeah, it's really the spin, and then I'm trying to become more of a power rusher because like this whole year I just showed speed, so people really don't know like I am strong. I can power, so I'm still working on that.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the spin move for a lot of coaches, they're unless you can do it really well, they're very much against trying to do that stuff. Is that kind of the same thing with your coaches?
Nah. So my DN coach, he like if you feel like you could do it,
Mm-hmm.
then he says you go ahead. Like you try whatever you think is gonna be successful. Now if it's not successful, he's gonna tell you about it. But like if you think you mastered it, he won't mind what you try.
Mm-hmm.
As long as you like stay like as long as you don't mess up your rules and like what you're supposed to do for that play, go ahead and try it all.
I remember a lot of DeLeone, whatever it was more if you look goofy, I think, doing the spin. Look goofy, then you're like, oh, what are we doing here? You just wasted a rep, and now everyone's looking at me like I can't coach. And that's what I saw whenever our D lineman got yelled at for doing the spin. It's just because they looked awkward. And they could have just done a bull rush or something like that. It's so. Some guys just aren't built for it.
Yeah, it's like you think about it, you like, yeah, I'm gonna just spin. Like it's actually harder than like you just think it's easy, but it's actually like a lot harder than harder than I pictured. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna spin. Like I spin one time, I got full slide. It was in practice. I got full slide, so I split.
Yeah.
I got guard king
just cleaned up.
Up. I was like, yeah, this not for me.
It's like trying to dream shake during a pickup game. You're like, oh, okay. In your head, oh, I got him. And then you turn around and he's just still right on you. I'm like, how did Hakeem do this? How did he do this? I practiced this.
Yeah, it's a lot harder. So I'm trying to develop that one, and I'll be good.
So speaking on other sports, I don't mean to steal a question that we had written down for you, Sean, to ask, but it made me think of I think that like every position has a different sport that they think that they're all really good at. A lot of guys think that they're really good at basketball. Like Sean's one of those guys that thinks he's really good at basketball.
No. We were running on the court and you never came and joined us. So that's because you're not good at basketball.
Okay. Well, is there like a sport that like if you weren't playing football that you would be pursuing?
Probably be basketball, but once I hit high school and I realized I wasn't gonna get taller than like 6'2", I was like basketball's out the window because I wasn't a guard growing up, so I was like I don't got point guard handles to try to go play college basketball. So but basketball was the other sport I played. That was like so my dad was a basketball coach his whole life, so like that was the first sport I picked up.
Do you think that background and your dad being a coach, do you think that helped you as a pass rusher at all? Like being able to move and contort your body in ways that maybe football players don't really focus on?
Nah, I don't think so. Like growing up, my dad didn't really play football or nothing, so like he couldn't really teach me nothing when it came to football. But my high school coach, my defensive line coach, he played professionally. Like he played arena football, and he like went Division I. He played at Hampshire University. So like him being my mentor in high school, that's what really helped me become like the pass rusher I am now. It was a big help in that.
If there was a just go off of Joe's question, is there a sport that you see happening just ESPN wherever that you never played that you think you would be you would excel at?
I never played. Let's see. I always wanted to try to play baseball. I never played baseball in my life. I feel like if I actually practice at it, like I think I'd hit a couple home runs.
Yeah. I feel like baseball is one of those sports where it's another one where a lot of football players are like I could totally hit a ball out of the park, but without any experience of it, it's a lot more difficult than it is.
No. I'm not hitting the ball right now. Give me
you need some time.
Give me the. I started playing football like 4 or 5, so give me those 15 years of me just playing baseball. I think I'd be pretty good.
Baseball is a good pick. So Josiah, I got to ask you about the coaching change that happens at UNH, and you've had a couple different coaches. Coach Santos is going to be taking over, and he was already there. bit of a two-parter here. Did it seem like that was going to be a guarantee, like going into the fact that you were going to be bringing in a new head coach? Did that seem like a lock that Coach Santos was going to be the guy, or was there a bit of maybe uncertainty for a period of time?
So everyone knew Coach Santos was going to be the new head coach. We just didn't know when. That was the biggest thing. We didn't know when Coach Mack was going to officially retire. Because, like, in 2019, when Coach Mack got sick, Coach Santos was the interim head coach. So going into it, like, everyone knew he was next. We just didn't know when.
And what are your thoughts on Coach Santos? Because you've obviously been exposed to him, and you're not coming into a situation which is difficult for a lot of guys. And you do see when a new head coach comes in, guys just immediately hop in the transfer portal. And I don't think that's really the case right now for UNH, because it's promoting somebody that I think a lot of people might like. Is that kind of the case for you, that you really like Coach Santos?
Yeah, so everyone on our team, like, enjoys, like, Coach Santos. Like, even last year, like, as just an assistant coach, like, the energy he brings is, like, different from what Coach Mack brought. Like, everyone respected Coach Mack. Like, his legacy is set in stone. Like, the guys really respect, like, Coach Santos. Like, he played here. He was successful here. So, like, we all see, like, what he did. Now it's like, all right, now he's going to lead us into, like, do things that we haven't done in a little while.
Mm-hmm. All right, I think that's all we have for questions. Sean, do you got anything else you want to ask Josiah?
I'm all good. Just wishing him the best of luck in the spring ball that's coming up. Layer up, because the spring ball in Rhode Island was just you're doing your practice after an hour, you're warm, but just that walk in that freezing cold, you're like,
well, when we played Albany in the spring, it was a night game. It was like,
oh my God.
It was like 20 miles per. It was like 20.
Was that at Albany?
No, it was at New Hampshire. It was even worse. It was home. It was like 11 mile per hour wind, so it felt like 9 degrees. And
God.
So like in the spring, I was the third DNN. So I don't gotta layer up too much. Like, I'll be in the game.
Ooh, big mistake.
I'm like, we warming up. I was like, I was talking to my roommate. I was like, yeah, man, I might take my long sleeve off. And we got to the game. I was like, yo, this is a different cold. Like, it's windy. I'm freezing. I'm like, yo, I should put another one on. I was like, all right, I'm gonna get in the game. I'm gonna warm up. So I would get in. Like, I played 13 snaps the whole game. So I was like, yo, I am freezing. So like, we got to the fourth quarter. It was a close game, so I was like, all right, like, they gave us one. I got one of the jackets. I was like, yo, coach, I'm shivering. I was like, coach, like, you either put me in now, or like just let me like stand off somewhere by a heater, like don't look my way, because I'm freezing.
I always love that bit when, like, the guys that are rotating in but don't get in, like, in the primary rotation, or aren't always in. If there's a heater, they're all around the heater because they're dressed less than everybody, but they're still freezing their asses off. Have you traveled to Maine yet for an away game? Because that one's the one that's in a completely different spectrum.
Yeah,
absolutely brutal.
We played Maine and Maine this year. I mean, we played Maine and New Hampshire this year. So
okay.
So next year it would be.
If you play them in the end of the season, prepare to wear as many layers as possible. Even if you're anticipating not missing a single snap, wear as many layers as possible. We had one of our good friends, Jake Fire. We played a game in Sean. What was the temperature of that game? That had to have been.
I didn't go to that one. That's when I.
Oh, you were injured.
Yeah, so I was like, I didn't go. I saw pictures. Yeah. I heard the stories of how insanely cold it was.
It was probably. It was below freezing. I think it was close to 0, and there was snow on the ground. It was icy. But we had one of our close friends went sleeveless with no gloves, no leggings, nothing, like psychopath tendencies there. So hopefully you're smart enough not to do that.
I'm from Virginia. I'm from the down south, man.
Yeah.
I don't do the cold. Once you say 0, I'm probably putting like 2. No, I probably put 1 long sleeve on, and I'm wearing tights, long socks.
Yeah, a couple pairs of socks might help you out there. All right, thank you, Josiah. I really appreciate you hopping on, and best of luck this season. Don't do too well against Rhode Island, but thank you again, Josiah.
And that was my best game this year, so hopefully
Exactly what I'm saying.
Thank you for having me.